Hey everybody. Remember when we talked about volcanoes in class? We didn't get to a couple things I wanted to cover that are really cool volcanoes in the history, so I thought I'd talk about them both today in a really quick video. But think about what we know about volcanoes already. What comes from them? A lot of you are probably like, oh, I know lava comes from them. But the thing about volcanoes is there's a lot more things than lava that comes from them that can really hurt you. There are things like smoke and ash, and tiny bits of rock, and poisonous gases. And you might be thinking, well, how could those hurt you? Well, imagine if you're in a volcano or near a volcano and it erupts. All those things that come from the volcano are going to land on who? You, right? And if it's lava and melted rock, what do you think the temperature is going to be? Really, really what? So I want you to feel your skin. Feel it just like I'm feeling it right now. Feel your head, feel your face, feel everywhere, feel your clothes. Imagine if something was burning hot and landed on you. Are you going to be able to be strong enough to resist it? Probably not. So the first volcano I want to talk about is Mount Vesuvius. Can everybody say Mount Vesuvius? And that is in the country of Italy. That sounds familiar. That's where my family is from. But the city I want to talk about today is called Pompeii. Some of you might have heard of it. Well, almost 2,000 years ago, the city of Pompeii was destroyed by Mount Vesuvius. And you might be thinking, well, it's a volcano. Of course it's going to destroy it. Well, the cool thing about Pompeii is that it's still around today. And you might be thinking, 2,000 years? How did that happen, Mr. Gaddy? I thought the volcano destroyed it. Well, it did. We're also going to figure out how the volcano also saved the city as well. And if you're as confused as I can see your faces right now, then perhaps you'd like to hear the tale. Well, in the year 79 AD, the city of Pompeii began to feel the ground rumble. And they realized that, hey, you know what? Something might be happening with this volcano that our city is built right next to. And so, what do you think a lot of those people started to do that lived there? A lot of the people started to be like, well, oh my gosh, something's happening. The volcano might be starting to erupt. So, a lot of people started to leave. And a lot of animals also started to get terrified because we've learned before animals can kind of sense when danger's coming. So a lot of the animals ran and fled the city. They evacuated. But not everybody. You see, the city had about 20,000 people in it. And some of those people decided to stay because they didn't really quite get what was about to happen. Well, when the volcano first erupted, it exploded and it had lava coming out and it had bits of molten rock and tiny pieces of ash falling from the sky, but they didn't really think much of it. They thought they would have time to actually maybe escape, get some things, run back to their homes and go get it. And what ended up happening is that the people who decided to stay and get some of those things, what do you think happened to them? Well, after the initial eruption, when all the lava and all the poisonous gas started to come out, the volcano erupted more. And this time, I need you to picture yourself right now. Look at the room that you're in. Look at the ceiling. It's probably about 8 to 10 feet high, like that's 8 rulers high or 10 rulers high. And now imagine it covered with melted rock and ash. But not just covered. Imagine having 2 rooms tall covered. So that's maybe 16 to 20 feet of ash, and you're at the bottom of it. What do you think you should do? You should evacuate, right? And so all these people who see that eruption, what do you think they start to do? They start to run. They're like, oh my gosh, this is really bad. We got to get out of here. So they gather their kids, they gather their family, and they start to run. And they're going crazy, and all these people that are stuck in the city start to run away. But the problem with the volcano was it started to rain down ash on everyone. And it's not like snow where you feel it and you're trying to catch it on your tongue, but this is burning hot ash that if it touches you, you're in a lot of trouble, right? And so people started to try and find places to hide. So they'd hide in the pool, they'd hide in the gardens, they'd hide inside their houses, they'd try and cover themselves under things. But let me ask you, do you think you can hide from burning hot ash? And so while those people were trying to hide and cover their faces, the volcano did the last dangerous thing that it was going to do. It erupted again and had a literal flood. Imagine a flood. We talked about water coming at you and how that can be really dangerous. Imagine a flood of burning hot ash and poisonous gases, because you need what to breathe, guys? What air? You need oxygen, right? And the thing that that poisonous gas does is it takes away your oxygen. So not only are you getting burning hot ash poured on you, you're getting your oxygen taken away. So what's going to happen to you? You're either going to burn or you're going to suffocate, right? Is there any real good way out of that? And so what happened is that flood of ash and poisonous gases that covered everyone and everything that was left in the city. It covered people, it covered men, women, children, plants and animals, buildings, the library, homes, churches. It covered everything. And not just a little bit of ash, not a lot of ash, but 2 rooms high full of ash. It covered the entire city. It covered it so much that no one knew a city was there. Look around you right now. Look around your room. Imagine having a volcano erupt, and there's so much ash and lava that no one knows that your house is there anymore because it just got covered. That's what the people in the city of Pompeii had to deal with. But you might be asking, Mr. Degatti, you said the city was saved by this volcano, and it sounds like it was pretty much destroyed. Well, you see, the cool thing about Pompeii is when the ash covered everything, guess what it did? It made it almost like a shell that protected all the buildings and even all the people inside of it. Now, those people died, but guess what those buildings did? The buildings stayed together. There's paintings on the walls that stayed together. And the coolest thing is that imagine you're sitting down for dinner. Scientists discovered the city when they uncovered it, when they dug everything out. They found jars of fruit that still looked like fruit, and pieces of bread and full loaves of bread that still looked like bread, because the ash kept it all together and it wasn't able to break down. I wouldn't eat that fruit or bread, but you could actually tell what it is. Could you imagine eating 2,000-year-old bread? I don't think it would taste very good. But imagine the bread that's in your house right now. Do you think that's going to last 2,000 years if you leave it out on the counter? Probably not. But the ash kept it safe for almost 2,000 years now. That's pretty cool. But the coolest thing, and also the saddest thing, and this is why I've saved it for last, we talked about the people that got stuck there, right? All those people that tried to hide, they got covered in ash. And when scientists were digging, they started to dig with their shovels and they'd hit this spot, this big empty spot, and be like, what's here? This is just a big empty spot. We don't understand what's here. And they realized that that spot that was empty used to be a person whose bones have gone away now. And so what they started to do, they started to fill those holes when they found them. They filled it with plaster. And soon they discovered that there was a lot of people that were hiding in all these different places. And if you look and look with your parents, you'll be able to find the last pictures of people in Pompeii, and some people are there covering their heads like this, or they're holding their babies over their shoulder, or they're laying on top of their kids trying to protect them from all the ash, and since the ash covered them up and it kept their bodies from falling apart, you can still see them. One of the saddest pictures is you have a mom or somebody holding their little baby and you can see their head right up here. Imagine that being the last thing that you would be living through. But I'm not going to end on a sad note like that. Another cool thing that they found was they found a dog who was still chained to its post, who was trying to escape. And they have the dog and its face is like, I want to get out of here. And it couldn't. And so imagine you could go back in like a time machine 2,000 years. What you saw in Pompeii was exactly what's there now. The city is there, the paintings are there, the food that was on the table is there, and the people that got stuck in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, they were also there as well. So that's just a little bit about Pompeii and the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. And that's just how destructive volcanoes can be. So if you really want to see those pictures, ask your mom, ask your dad, and look at them together. You'll be able to see those cool things that happened in Pompeii, and just so you can kind of see the true power of volcanoes. So this video is a little long. I'll come back with another one that talks about the year without a summer, that second volcano that I was talking about in our video before. So I will come back with that. But just think about Pompeii. And think about how strong a volcano would be and what you would do if you knew a volcano was going to erupt.